I'm Cody.
And I'm Ashlee.
Whether you're remodeling your entire home or just sprucing up a room with a fresh coat of paint,
we're going to show you how to do it right.
If your kitchen cabinets are outdated, you could just buy brand new ones.
Or you can just paint them. It's easier and a lot less expensive.
What?
Visually, cabinets take up most of the space in a kitchen, so painting them can dramatically change the entire space.
So the first thing you want to consider is what paint color you're going to go with.
Cody and I made this video about choosing the right color for your project.
It's like a mini college course on color theory. You can click here to check it out, or we'll leave you a link in the description below. I think you're going to get a lot out of it.
Painting cabinets comes down to 3 steps: prep, prime, and paint.
These cabinets are made of wood, so they should be easy to paint.
But even if they weren't, as long as you can scuff up the surface with a piece of sandpaper, you can paint it.
You know what time it is, baby? It's prep time. Let's do the prep dance. Do the prep, prep, prep. That's the next step, step.
This home is being renovated, and the appliances have already been removed, which is something we would have had to do anyway. So the first thing we need to do is remove the doors, drawers, and hardware. We're gonna number each door and the cabinet it goes to before we remove them. The hardware from each door goes into its own bag with the number of the door they came off of.
Before we start sanding, we need to remove any oil or grease from the wood with a general purpose degreaser. If the surface is greasy, the primer won't stick to it. One place to really pay attention to is right over here by the stove. This part of the kitchen tends to get very, very dirty, so it looks like it might take a little elbow grease to get rid of the bacon grease. Oh, thank you.
Now that everything is clean, we need to look for any scratches or holes we need to fill. We can fix any rough spots with some wood putty and smooth it out with a putty knife. You don't have to fill in your hardware holes if you're going to use the same hardware. But if you want to use new hardware with a different screw pattern, you'll need to fill in one of those holes and drill a new one.
Now it's time to mask. We're using a combination of painter's tape, paper, plastic, and drop cloths to cover up everything we don't want to get paint on.
And everything we don't want to get dust on. It's time to start sanding, and it's gonna get messy.
We're using medium to fine grit sandpaper to remove the first layer of finish off of this wood. And I'm not using a lot of force, just sanding with the grain until the sheen's gone. See? Shiny, not shiny. That's how you know it's ready to paint.
We've set up a makeshift paint booth in a spare room using a drop cloth and painter's plastic. But you don't have to use a spare room like us. Basically, any indoor space like a garage or a basement will work just fine. After sanding everything, we just need to wipe off all of the dust using a vacuum and a dry paintbrush.
And now, it's finally time to prime.
Yeah, finally. Painting is a lot of prep work, but them's the rules, you know?
Them's the rules. Prime time, let's go. Ooh. We're going to use this bonding primer. It will seal up the wood and create the perfect surface for our paint to stick to. Here's a little trick you can try out. You can drill a couple of pilot holes into the doors and then screw in these hooks. Now, you can hang it on a coat hanger like this. It makes painting and drying these cabinets way easier. We'll be using a paint sprayer to get a super smooth finish on the cabinets, free from any brush strokes and texture that can be left behind when using paint rollers. It's just a faster process.
Our airless paint sprayer is generally used for big jobs that need lots of paint thrown at them, like painting a house or lots of cabinet doors. For smaller jobs like painting a piece of furniture, an HVLP sprayer is perfect. If you go to Lowes.com and search for paint sprayers, I'm sure you can find the one that's right for your project.
Before I paint, I want to practice a bit on this piece of paper to make sure the pressure on the sprayer isn't too high so I can lay down thin coats of paint. I'm going to hold the sprayer about 12 inches away and start spraying just off to the side of the surface. Spray all the way across and not stop spraying until I have completely passed the edge. I'll keep my motion and distance consistent for every pass and overlap them just a bit for adequate coverage. Whether we're painting the cabinets or the doors, we're going to use the same technique for a consistent, smooth finish. In between coats, we're going to lightly sand to remove any imperfections, like dust, paint runs, anything like that.
Before we add some color to these cabinets, we need to flush all the primer out of the paint sprayer. We're using water-based paint, so running clean water through the sprayer and washing the components in water is enough to thoroughly clean it.
Before you clean out your sprayer or store it for long periods of time, be sure to read the owner's manual to make sure you're doing it correctly.
We're using Valspar Signature paint in a satin finish for this project. All of our prep work has led to this final coat, so it's important not to get in a hurry. The general idea is to build up thin layers of paint to achieve a smooth finish.
So babe, what do you think?
It looks really great.
Great? I think you mean great. Like gray.
Now we've finally arrived at the part of the project I love the most, putting everything back together.
Getting to this point was time consuming, but seeing the finished product makes it all worthwhile.
The hardware that came off these cabinets is 20 years old and it just wasn't going to look right with the new paint job. So we decided to use this new satin nickel hardware.
To install the new pools, we've got this handy mounting guide to help us line everything up. We've used some masking tape to mark the holes we're gonna use so we don't mess anything up. It's pretty easy to use. Just slide it over the corner of the door, mark the mounting locations for the hardware through the guide holes, fire up the drill, and that's it. It's a perfect placement every time.
This kitchen looks great.
It really does, babe, and I can honestly say you couldn't have done it without me.
Whatever, Cody.
Just saying.
Remember, projects like this should be a fun and inspirational adventure.
And now you know how to do it right.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button.
And be sure to let us know in the comments below your best or worst paint color decisions.
If you're ready to start painting, check out Lowe's new How to Paint series.
And if you want to see more how-to videos with Ashlee and I, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned to the Lowe's YouTube channel. Thanks, guys.